Hi there, it's the Journey of Possibility BeCollaboration podcast. It's the 7th of July.
Yeah.
Where's July going? And I'm here joined today with Kay Westrap. We normally have Erkan Ali with us, but he's off on a boys' weekend, a bit of a retreat, so he's going to have some quality time and have a lot of opportunity to focus on where he's going and what he's doing, and I'm sure BeCollaboration will be a big part of that. For those of you who don't know, I'm Gill Tiney. I'm the co-founder of BeCollaboration, and the purpose of the podcast Journey of Possibility is to meet with our collaborators, find out a little bit more about them, but to see where they're coming from, to see how BeCollaboration fits in with their life and what it means to them. And to share some questions that we all have. So, some of the topics of conversation might be about things that have happened in the news recently, things that we aren't aware of, the G20 summit, so many things, of riots that are going on over there at the moment. So, thank you for joining us. And I'd just like to say hello to Kay.
Hello.
And first and foremost, Kay, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what you're passionate about, what makes you giggle.
Everything. Everything. I find the funny side of most things, not everything, obviously, but most things. What do I do? I'm passionate about people and to share and help people to grow and empower them. And the way I do that is, at the moment, recently I've been running my own business, doing websites, but the turn or the spin on it that's different is that I teach people how to do it themselves, because again it's about empowerment. So I don't want to take people hostage ever, unlike some other companies. And I target small businesses and one-man bands really, because I want to help them get cracking and get off the ground. But the thing that really kind of floats my boat is mental health, and I do mental health therapies for things like PTSD, depression, anxiety, all that kind of stuff. And it happened to me, and I had a lot of mental health issues in my early 20s, all through my life up until that point, and the stuff I do I had done to me, and it changed my life. And so I then thought, I need to go and do this. So I did, and now I help others out of the pain that they've been suffering potentially for the whole of their life. So that's my passion. I do a lot of voluntary work with children, especially children in foster care, and all of the youngsters that I work with who've got special needs, because again that's one of my leanings, if you like. So so that's me, married, dogs, love my husband, very happy.
That's handy, you love your husband.
That's handy, because he loves dogs too, so that works. And all round laughaholic, I suppose, But everyone knows when I'm around because they hear me first.
I love it. Well, even yesterday when we were at the BeCollaboration meeting, you were at the far end of the room, and different things you were saying would make me go, it's just so funny, and you can feel this ripple go around because it's around you all the time.
I always say that wherever I've worked, I was always hired only to lower the tone.
I love it. But it's part and parcel of kind of, I suppose, you work in a very dark world where people are coming from a very sad place, and so you've got this ability to live.
It's like undertakers, isn't it? Funeral, people that are in the funeral trade always have a great sense of humour.
Yeah, that's true.
And I was a Samaritan for like over 10 years, and again, that kind of thing it could really suck the energy out of you and be really depressing, but I actually found it a massive recharge. I'd go there with all my woes and come back and think, wow, mine are this big, and
that's a good point.
And it gets perspective. You realise that actually you're not badly off, even though you might think you are. You get up and moan and groan, but actually there's always perspective.
So. I saw a little thing on Facebook today, a young girl that had escaped from North Korea. Oh my goodness, I'm not sure where she was speaking, I didn't have time to look at the whole thing, but she was talking about how she'd escaped, what had happened to her dad, what had happened to her mum, the horror of it, but also what it's like living under a regime when you think that the rest of the world have forgotten you. and the fact that she was now free, and she said, you know, all you can do is tell other people and create an awareness around it.
But there's a programme on at the moment called The Handmaiden's Tale, which is from a novel, and it's all about that kind of the world that we know, not going back, going forward, literally overnight transforming into a regime where women are completely second-class citizens and are used for the needs of the men, and they're not allowed to have bank accounts, they're not allowed to read, they're not allowed to speak without being spoken to, you know, all of that kind of thing. And they are, you know, they are categorised into women that can have children, called handmaidens, and Marthas, which are the cooks and cleaners, because they can't have children but they are physically fit, so they can, you know, just unbelievable. And it is quite actually unnerving, because you think, you know, wow, we're that close to being able to, you know, for that to happen. You know, it came about in this novel because of infertility. Infertility was crippling all societies all over the world, and so they had to look to a solution to find the fertile women to provide future generations, and it just, wow, really, really scary.
Well, the good news is they've got test tubes now, so...
Well, exactly, yeah, this is it. I saw a spoof thing on Facebook about growing babies in a pod that you have in your lounge, and you just keep going up checking it and so on. And I thought, I'd like one of those, I could do that, you know.
I can't even keep a plant alive.
No, that's true, I can't either. There's nothing green in my garden.
No.
Nothing, no.
It's interesting, isn't it? So, what brought you to BeCollaboration? What was the thing that...
I met a guy at I'm a bit of a networking, since I've been running my own business, I'm a bit of a networking tart, and I'll just go to anything and everything. And I went to a networking event, which was quite big. It was about 40-50 people, so it was very difficult to be able to meet with several people, because it was just so big. And I happened to sit next to a guy, Mark Constable.
Oh yeah.
And we got chatting and had a lot in common about, you know, the spiritual side, if you like, or that kind of stuff. And he went, oh, you should go to BeCollaboration, you'd love it. And I'm a firm believer that you meet people for a reason.
Yeah.
And I will go where my instinct takes me. Yeah. And if I didn't like it, then fine, nothing lost. And I came along and went, oh, this is it, this is the thing. And when you do a lot of networking, you get into that networking-y mindset, and you come and you do your pitch, and you do your 40 seconds or 60 seconds, depending where you are, and you do the, oh, what do you do, and all of that sort of thing. And it was almost the complete opposite of that. And it was like, what does your heart do? And I was like, oh wow, this is it. And you know, and that's the person I am. And I remember coming to the orientation, and after I decided to join, and saying, I feel like I've come home, you know, and that was my heart feeling like it had come home. You know, I walk in and feel it's a different space and a different energy, and it doesn't matter which meeting you go to, the people are just very like-minded, and very on purpose, or searching for their purpose. They're not people that are just being, you know,
life happening by accident.
Yeah, flotsam and jetsam. They're not those kind of just, you know, washed up on the beach. They're the people that go and pick up the stuff on the beach, and you know, it just is. It's a different. It's fun as well. We have a laugh, big laugh, especially when I'm there. But you know, there's humour to it, and it's fun, and it's energy, and just playful, but with a kind of really caring, loving, exploratory, soul-searching, you know, purpose to it. And I just feel very much that it's, you know, I will be part of it for as long as I can, because, you know, it is going where I want it to go, and I like being. I'm a being person. You know, I would say to my husband, Lee, you've got to make memories.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, that's all you leave behind. You are just a memory. So make them, you know, because all of a sudden it'll be too late. And so for me, it's about, you know, when I was busy one day, and I said to him, I don't know if I can fit in BeCollaboration. And he went, and he said, why do you go? And I said, well, it's my me time. He said, then it's non-negotiable. He said, you have to go.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, yeah,
Point
you're right.
mate.
Yeah, but that's the thing, and he gets it. It's not his thing, but it is my thing, and he knows that I have the things that I need to do, and he fully supports me in that. But he was absolutely right. It is my me time. It's my recharge. It's my downtime, but also uptime. I come out going, yeah, right, you know. Yeah. And you know, I do other things that make me feel like that from a business sense. But you know, this is, you know, the real essence of you. It recharges the you, and lets you be, and let you be purposeful.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, one of our other collaborators, my husband Alan, he talks about a bubble paradigm. So there are the 3 areas, and they were going to, if you have one bubble that's growing too big, i.e. the work bubble, it's going to make some of the others burst if you're not careful. And if that were to burst, and you've got all your other 2 bubbles are too tiny,
breakdown.
Exactly, you're in a problem. So knowing that it's me time is, you know, you deserve it. So you have to put your oxygen mask on first before you can go and support anybody else and help them.
Yeah.
And if you're making your own self needs last, like most women do, you know, you're not serving anybody and actually doing yourself down as well. So
well, you can't help others if you don't, as you say, you can't, you know, you can't serve from an empty platter or an empty cup. It's you need to refill yours before you can help other people.
Especially the environment that you work in. I don't know about you, but when I have a client and I'm, you know, supporting them and helping them, the energy that goes with that, and sometimes you've had a great session, it's amazing, you think, oh God, it's because it's still kind of, you're giving.
In actual fact, it's the opposite with me, because when I do therapies and stuff, I actually am doing it on myself as well. So I first of all, I kind of immunise myself from absorbing their negative energy, but then I give out and get them to focus on their positive energy. So when they go, I'm buzzing because I've actually sort of done a little clear out of my negative stuff and also sort of rewired anything that was hanging around for me. So you know, after a session, I feel really great. You know, so it's kind of, and it's the same as I say with the Samaritans. You know, you'd put the phone down, and even if I only had one suicide in progress, the whole time I was there, thankfully.
10 years, that's...
exactly.
Yeah.
But I actually felt extremely privileged to have been the person that was with that person till the end of their days. And even that, although it was, you know, obviously I sobbed my heart out and I was really, really upset, but I was thankful that I could be there for them and they didn't die alone, you know. And I don't know if they did die, because they might not have done, they might have just gone unconscious and woke up again. I don't know, do I? Because that's the thing, you put the phone down and that's it, end of. But even that, you know, you kind of think, wow, life is so precious, so precious, you know.
Well, that's a lot of what we talk about in BeCollaboration, is that there isn't much time left.
No, and you can buy anything but time.
Exactly.
You know, you can't get that back. It's like literally, you know, and often I think, is this the way I want to be spending my time? If today was my last day, I mean, it might know and be known, I share the fact that, you know, I've had 3 life-threatening episodes of my attention-seeking periods, and I, you know, for me, if I'm going to die tomorrow, I want to know that today's the best it could be, and you know, when I get to BeCollaboration, I think this is a really good, you know, if I did die tomorrow, today I've spent really productively, really doing something that makes my heart sing, you know, and yeah, it would be nice if my husband came along, but that would then complete it all. But actually, I think we all need our own thing, you know.
That's true.
And he accepts that this is my thing, so I should be accepting of him.
So he could come to London and you could come to Oxford, and we'll work it out. We'll work a way out. It's lovely to have Lee there, I think. Fantastic. So I've been privileged enough to see you in action when you did your masterclass. So for those people that don't know, when you've stood at the front of the room, presented your Know and Be Known session, you've given basically an hour to share how you got to where you are in your life today, what the influences have been around that, and what you are doing and what your being is and what you want to be known for within the community. And following that, if people go, oh, that's interesting, I like that, you get to run a masterclass, and that is where you share kind of your doing of your being. Kay over in Essex had a masterclass, and I was lucky enough to sort of sneak in on that one. And she shared how she uses thought field therapy with somebody else. And so I'm going to explain it from my perspective, how I saw it, and then you can explain how it actually works. So what I saw was a lady who had volunteered to be our sort of guinea pig, and she had just come back from holiday where she'd had a real emotional upset. And so Kay asked her to think about that upset and get back into that space, and you could see it visibly. So she's sitting there with her eyes shut, her hands on her legs, but she was thinking about this thing that had upset her, that she'd not been able to sleep because she was so upset by it since she'd come back from a holiday. She was enraged, she was upset beyond upset. And so as she was sitting there remembering the upset, you could see her neck was flushed, her eyes were moving, her body was just morphing into this, I want to smack someone, you know, she was really, really angry. And then Kay went to work, and I don't know how long it was, it felt like moments.
Yeah, it was about five minutes.
It didn't even feel that long. If you'd asked me, if I put money on it, I'd have said a minute, but it was just so, and she used the tapping technique, and you could see this lady just visibly kind of go, And before she'd started, she said, on a scale of 1 to 10, how angry are you, how upset are you? And she was off the scale. She was like 11, 12, 15. I don't know, I'm a lot, really a lot. Okay. And then afterwards you asked her how did she feel? And she said, 1, maybe 2. And it was like, whoa. So I thought, well, let's play the cynic. I'm not a cynical person, I was sold, I was done, but I thought, you know, if I was a cynical person, somebody else looking in on that would have gone, yeah, but flipping out, that's going to wear off in a minute. That's just because you're sat around with all these people.
Distraction technique.
Exactly. So throughout the afternoon, because she was there for another 3-4 hours, I was kind of watching how she was, how she behaved with everybody else, and I checked in on her. I said, how are you feeling? She said, amazing. She said, the memory hasn't gone away. Yeah. But my angst that was like a knot in my heart and my stomach, it's not there anymore. And you could see this kind of relief, and this on her face, it was almost like she had a facelift, that she didn't have that stress anymore. And I've seen her since then, a month later, and she's the same. And you know, you ask again, is that how's it going? You know, it's fine.
She's actually gone and had chats with the person.
Really?
Yeah, and kind of been able, because she couldn't even speak about it. She was so upset and felt it. I think it wasn't just anger. I think she felt betrayal and all sorts of things, you know. And and that's gone. So she's now able to sort of deal with the situation. And
because the thing is, if you do that and somebody feels calm about it, it doesn't just go away. You do have to deal with, you know, you do have to go back and revisit. But when you're revisiting from a place of calm and a place of it's not necessarily logic, I don't think, but it's you're
not emotional. You've taken the emotion out of it.
It's the thing, isn't it? The thing has gone, so you're not going to react.
No, so this is it. So you're not in a traumatic feeling. You're looking at it from your logical brain, because there's no emotion going on. But yeah, and funny enough, when we came down, one of the girls that wasn't in the masterclass, she'd had some really awful stuff go on in her personal life and got really upset and started crying. And I was like, come here. And that was in our tea break, in the coffee break, and I did the same to her in like 2-3 minutes, and she was like, oh wow. Like this. And I forgot that she wasn't in the masterclass, so I just not pretended, but I kind of assumed that she'd know what I was going to do, and so she had no. And then I thought, oh, you went in the masterclass, and she hadn't kind of seen the setup or the explanation or anything. I just literally went to work on her, and she was like, oh, thanks. So and she was sobbing, you know.
That negates the placebo effect, doesn't it?
Yeah, because she didn't know what I was going to do. And to be honest, some people, when I speak to them, I do explain what's going to happen, because some people need to know what's going to happen. Some people don't care, they don't ask. It's like you don't go to your GP and say, right, this treatment that you've given me, how exactly does that work? You know, but most people just go, thank you,
give me the piece of paper,
10 minutes, you don't get much time
to,
you just trust that they have given you the right course of action, sort of thing. And so some people don't, you don't need to know, you don't even need to believe in it. It's not like hypnosis or anything. Lee had a massive needle phobia, and he was adamant, absolutely adamant, that it would not work on him. And he's on permanent warfarin, so we have to check his blood every so often. And the very next time I took his blood, and there was absolutely no reaction, none, and he didn't even realise. And it wasn't until afterwards I'd taken it, given him the reading, and he was like, oh great, and I was like, that was a bit different, and he went, oh yeah, it must have worked. And I was like, you know, but it was really funny, and so now he's like a massive walking advert, because he tells everybody, he's like, Kay can sort you out for it. And you know, but in the same respect, I know my boundaries. Like with him, he's actually got a massive wasp phobia.
Oh bless.
We went on holiday one year and there was a wasp nest and what have you, and he was like shutting the doors and everything, and Mr. OCD, and again he's got OCD, and I said to him, I can fix that for you, and he's like, no, I don't want you to, and I was like, why would you not want to? And I said, okay, I need to understand this. You know I can fix it. You know that it will be really quick and it's not traumatic or anything. Why don't you want me to? And he said, I don't want you to change everything about me. It was what makes me who I am. And I was like, wow, that's like so tied into his identity. And I said, okay, that's fine. You know, and that's the thing. If it's something that's outside of the realms of complementary therapies, like, you know, bipolar or autism or
so grief as well, you don't deal with.
Well, I won't. I mean, I can deal with all these things. There's always side effects that are treatable, like anxiety, depression, etc., etc. But you can't. A medical illness that is like a, you know, something that's affected your brain in an irretrievable way, like, you know, some sort of brain damage or something like that, or schizophrenia or bipolar or what have you. You can't do anything about that because that's a chemical thing. Right. And with grief, when somebody's been bereaved, I will help them to cope with the side effects, but I don't believe in getting rid of the grief, because you have to go through that. And I think if you don't, you pressure cooker it for later, and then it comes back. But what I have done is, you know, when people need to move on, I had a guy who had lost his wife before, probably, I don't know, 6 or 8 years before, and was looking to get into a new relationship and felt guilty, even though his you know, family had given them their blessing and all this kind of thing. He just felt that it wasn't, you know, he couldn't have loved his dead wife enough if he wanted to be with someone else. And I dealt with that, and then he became, you know, even more involved than he was, and was really happy. And that's the thing, is it's when the time's right, you can deal with stuff. And as I say, I can help people through the period, but I don't believe that it's right to get rid of the grieving, because, you know, you need to have that period to go through the process, you know. So yeah, but it is amazing. I had it done to me. I was, you know, I had nightmares for 40 years and just terrible, and I was absolutely desperate. And I had one session, and I've never had a nightmare since 8 or 9 years ago. I can't remember when it was. But I'm still really annoying, because now I sing and hum and laugh in my sleep.
But you can sing us, so that's okay.
Not when I'm asleep. I'm like,
You don't need it.
Yeah, I'm
even
like
Julie Andrews would get annoying.
I'm like a drunk in a bar on a bad karaoke when I'm asleep. So yeah.
So okay, so tell us what happens. You know, how does it work? This amazing miracle that you can do.
It rewires the synaptic connections in the brain. So when you have any kind of trauma, and, you know, when I talk about a trauma, people go, oh, mine's not a trauma. Anything can be traumatic. A friend of mine that was traumatised by cheese, you know, and like the typical in the restaurant group of friends, all right, if you can sort anything out type thing. I can't deal with cheese. I get really panicky and anxiety, and if I think I've got to deal with cheese, and I was like, really? Wow. And basically that was from a school dinner lady making her eat cheese when she was 5.
I get that.
You know, because she was Asian, the dinner lady assumed that she'd be vegetarian and therefore must eat cheese because you need protein, dear. You know, back in the day when that was kind of the, you know, and so she made her eat cheese when she felt it made her feel really sick, and I was like, you know, and literally we got to that within 5 minutes. We were sat in a restaurant and she's sobbing and she was like, oh, you know. So yeah, it was. But I mean, you know, it was like, and they always test me. My friends will be like, come on, let's do his stuff, like, you know. So when as I say, when something traumatic happens, And the thing of trauma, it's subjective, because an event has no emotional content. It's just an event, but we give it some emotional significance in our lives. Not because we want to, it just happens. We don't choose for that. And the problem is your brain can't tell the difference between real and imagined. So every time something comes up that's like it will trigger the same emotion, and you feel like you're going through it for the very first time every time. So you're in this loop. And you know that like something's triggering it, and you know what triggers it, but you can't stop the trigger. So it's like, you know, it's really frustrating, because then we know that we've got something wrong. And I always say you feel like you're a passenger on the bus instead of driving the bus, you know. And so what this does is the trauma and the emotion, although they're connected, they're stored in separate parts of the brain. And doing this stuff, it releases chemicals that just removes the connection. So you don't forget, but you just don't care anymore. And so you can then, and especially, it is quite liberating, obviously, if it's been really traumatic and it's something that's terrible. But let's say it is a bereavement, and you've got memories you can't access because you're so bereft,
overwhelmed,
that you actually are not allowing your brain to go into the nice memories because it's just too upsetting. So what it then does is allows people to go back to the lovely memories without getting so upset that they can then enjoy the memories of those people. So that's where it comes in, you know, from the point of view of later on when someone's been bereaved, that you can use it. But also, you know, for me it was 40 years of massive trauma and repetitive. And although during the day I looked as though I was okay, I wasn't. I really wasn't. Yeah, I was a functioning kind of time bomb. So, you know, it is amazing, and it's really fast, really fast. I mean, I had a woman who was in her 60s, and I think somebody was watching, sort of as a witness, not a witness, but she was intrigued, and this woman was really nervous and wanted her to be present, which was fine. I don't have a problem with that. And but I wouldn't do it unless the patient, client, unless the client wanted that. I wouldn't ask for somebody to be in there, unless it's a child, obviously. And she sat there and watched, and she timed it, and it was 11 minutes from sobbing and completely, you know, beyond a 10 on the scale to like, I can't even think about it, you know. And she sent me poems and you know, all sorts of things. And and I mean, I get text messages from people going, look at me now, like, you know, and it's fantastic. You know, I mean, although yes, I do the website stuff, I always say I never get an email saying that website changed my life. You know?
That's true.
But I mean, you know, I get testimonials on Facebook and stuff, and people saying you either changed or saved my life even. And that is such a privilege, you know, to know that not only was I healed from my stuff, then, you know, I'm now helping other people, you know. And I sit there and even like we'll watch TV and Lee will say, you should get in touch with him, you know. There'll be an article on the television about something. I mean, Rio Ferdinand did a thing about you know, losing his wife, and I contacted him, and I was really shocked to get a reply, and he said, oh, thank you ever so much, and that was lovely. But yeah, I'll see things, and you know, the Grenfell Tower thing. I was going to go up there, but funny enough, I was on a weekend retraining kind of thing, or refresher, and one of the girls that was there, a whole organisation had gone as emotional first aid, and so because I knew that they were doing that, I thought, well, okay, but I still think there's going to be, because they were there in the initial stages, and I think later on there's going to be, you know, because these people are, you know, are definitely going to have post-traumatic stress, definitely, and so, you know, I'm sure that at some point I will get myself up there and
because at the moment you are the one person trying to heal many. So I wonder if a question to you is the draw of BeCollaboration, that you're around other people, that maybe you could amplify what you do to more than one-on-one. So whether you were able to, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud now, you know, train other people within BeCollaboration, or have a space or a source where people can come and have that training from you? Or
I'm not a trainer of it,
but not necessarily to be trained, but to be a catalyst for more people to kind of come together. Because when you've got, I mean, you could call it a gift, but you have this talent, and obviously you are changing people's lives quite dramatically. To be around people that also want to be able to change people's lives but don't know how to do it, so you need to kind of connect up and be a catalyst with them as well. When you can,
I'm in a group that I was saying about the retraining or refresher. The guy. So when I had my session, my healing session or whatever you want to call it, I wanted to be trained in it. I was like, I need to learn this. I need it. And he didn't provide training. So I said, well, who trained you? And I got in touch with Kevin Lay, who is the most amazing person, and who's now a good friend, and I run all his websites and stuff. But and I will actually, from a business point of view, I'll nudge him to do stuff that he doesn't want to do. So I do act as it was him and somebody else that actually coined the phrase "my business mum," which is what I called myself. And and I support him and he supports me, and he does training. He does training, so I often recommend people to go and have the training that are kind of lending themselves towards that kind of thing. But I do train individuals when I do a session with them. I give them the skills so that they can go away and keep doing it, because it's not a panacea for the future. It deals with the past. So other stuff will come up, and you need to have those tools to be able to deal with them, because you're back in that driving seat. You're not, but we all have wobbles. We all, have stuff that's thrown at us from left field, and you have to be. I mean, me personally had my sort of like episodes of trying to die. Not trying to, but like
try not to
die. Yeah, exactly. And so it helped me get through my stuff, because I had tools to be able to deal with the emotional and mental torment and trouble, and come through it, unscathed, if you like, with a greater understanding of cancer and stuff like that. But, I went into it philosophically and I came out philosophically, thank God, I still, obviously, you never know what's around the corner, but I always say I've got as much chance as anyone else. Of getting another cancer. And as I say, if it does come, then, make today the best that it can be. So...
I think sometimes the cancer comes because of the trauma that's been happening through your life, and now you kind of shed a lot of that. Probably, I don't know if you shed all of it or not, but shed a lot of that, then hopefully the cancer's got nothing to grow on. So
I think dis-ease is often, and I think your subconscious has a way of bringing something to your attention that you need to deal with. And although I dealt with most of everything, I thought, but I'd been doing that dealing with for like 40 years, and so my dis-ease had probably been there for a long time, and who knows, that cancer had probably been ready to sprout at any point, and just did. So but it is kind of, it is what it is, and I'm still here, and I'm very thankful for that. And yes, my life has changed physically. I'm not the person that I was physically, but mentally I'm no different. And people say, oh, it must make you kind of, I know I was like that before. I always lived life for today, and I was all very positive, and my life journey has made me a very positive, very strong, very resilient person, because I do know that even at my lowest, I always know that the sun will come up tomorrow. Well, perhaps not in England, but
it's there somewhere,
behind the clouds. But the dawn will always happen, even if you're at your lowest ebb in the middle of the night and what have you. And and I have been suicidal in my life, and so and that's why I went and became a Samaritan, because I wanted to pay back when they saved my life, literally. And so I thought, I need to go and pay back and be there for someone else. And so, there is always another day, and sometimes you don't want to be here for that day, but there's always someone who will hold your hand and walk beside you.
Yeah, absolutely. My nan always used to say, she died when she was 96, and she had 13 children, and she lived through 2 world wars, and she always says, you know, you've
One World Cup.
yeah, very importantly. But she always said, you know, you've got to look for the silver lining, and she said sometimes it's really hard, you've got to look so hard for it, but it's always there. There's always good that will come out of bad, and that's what you kind of hang your hopes on. I mean, I'd say she had 13 kids, and you know, none of them died in the war.
Yeah.
And they, in East of London, they lived in Bethnal Green. Great. So it was quite, and they all went off to, the women as well, they were all signed up, they all went off and did their thing. So how lucky, blessed was she to go through that. But it's her attitude was always, she counted her blessings, she always looked at life in a very positive way, and she made the most of it. And in a time when most people were having cigarettes and eating too much, she never smoked and she never drank. And
I think, you know, one of the things that people ask me is how you can stay positive on a daily basis for somebody who's not feeling positive. And I always say you should practice gratitude. You should literally every day look for something you can be grateful for. And funnily enough, I had a kick-ass cancer party after I'd sort of finished all my treatment and I was going back to work. Still was bald as a badger, but you know, I didn't care about that. I wasn't bothered.
But you look gorgeous.
I didn't have a Frankenstein head, it was more of a bowling ball, so I was quite okay about that, which I wasn't expecting at all. But I had a party, and my close friend, dear friend Diane, she's a voice artist and she's also a singer, and she sung at our wedding and also sang at the party. And the song that she sang was Grateful, and it is beautiful. Art Garfunkel's done a version of it, and you can YouTube it, but it has the most amazing words. And she said it sums Kay up, and I was like, actually, yeah, it does, because I am grateful. And you know, yeah, I've been through stuff, which we all have. My stuff's not as bad as some people, you know, it's worse than some, but you know, it's just what it is. But if you can be grateful for now and today and everything you've got, then that's unshakable, you know, because it's in here.
And you've got to tell yourself every day.
Exactly.
Because if you start taking things for granted, I mean, every night before I go to sleep, I'm like, I picture my kids' faces, I picture my husband's face, I thank the Lord that we're all healthy and we're getting up in the morning, and, you know, thank you for another day, and, you know, the people around me, BeCollaboration, and it's like, whoa, I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky.
So blessed. It's like, you know, I mean, there's a little, again, a Facebook meme thing, and there's like 2 little bodies, and one's got this thing on their chest, and the other one's saying, oh, where did you find that? I've been looking for it everywhere. And the little thing on the other one's chest is just a badge saying happiness, and it's within the person. And so, of course, you know, that's the point, is you can go searching for happiness. You can buy stuff, you can, you know, always think the grass is greener. You can look on Facebook and feel miserable because everyone's having a great time, supposedly, and you're not. Or you can go, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for what I've got. My happiness lives in here. It's not out there, it's in here. Once that penny drops, then, you know, I'm not saying, you know, everything's always going to be sweetness and light, but you can get through stuff and you can realise that happiness is self-generating. And therefore, if it's self-generating, I can generate as much of it as I like, you know.
Richest person in the world.
Ka-ching! You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, one-armed bandit, it's like, you know, it's like a magical happiness machine. You know, inside you. And that's the thing, you know, people say, what can I do to feel more this? What can I do to feel more that? You've got to sense it within yourself. You've got to find it inside of you.
And understand, actually, if you're having a down day and you know, you consider I'm depressed or whatever, well, what can you do that's going to make you a tiny bit less depressed? Claire Evans, didn't she, had a little I feel better when
which is fantastic.
Which is brilliant, because there are people saying I feel better when I sing in the shower, when I dance like no one's watching, and I put one on about going for a paddle in the sea, even if it's January, I'll go for a paddle, and it just lifts your mood, and all you need to do is lift your mood a little bit, and then a little bit more, a little bit more.
The thing also is physiology and psychology. You know, Anthony Robbins is a great one for this. You know, I did the UPW, the Unleashed Power Within, years and years ago. and you know, the whole weekend you are just physical, you know, 80% of the time. Long days, and you're just completely physical, jumping up and down on your chair, massaging each other's backs, all this kind of thing. But changing your mental state starts from your physical. And if you're feeling miserable, you can say to somebody, what does miserable look like? What does depressed look like? And it's like this. And one of the things that Kevin has, you know, he's focused on is the thing that we're going to have is addictions is the small tip of the iceberg. The big addiction is going to be social media.
Yeah.
That is what we're going to be treating for people for in 5 and 10 years' time, is addiction to social media.
They have to go cold turkey.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, the thought of me not having my phone beside me at bedtime, I'm like, ooh, you know, it just is. And that's the thing is, you know, and also if you think of the Facebook logo, it's like this. You know, it's like you're looking down at your phone, and when you're actually holding your phone doing that, you're like that, and you're in the depressed physical state. You know, and
you need to be in the
exactly the Amy Cuddy power
exactly,
thing.
yeah.
And you know, that's the thing is, if people don't realise that just getting up and going for a walk or just doing something physical. You know, I stuck on Facebook a while back. Getting my washing all done and up to date gives me a buzz.
Yeah.
I know I'm weird, but you know,
no, it's not weird. I
am so not a domestic goddess. Anyone will testify to that. My husband's a domestic god. I am not. But the thing is certain things will float my boat.
Yeah.
And it's actually going, that makes me happy.
Yeah.
You know, when I do that, I feel happy. So do more of that.
Yeah.
That thing doesn't make me feel happy, so do less of that. You know, and that's the thing is finding the joy and the playfulness and the wonder, ding ding, we were talking about this yesterday at BeCollaboration, in everything, you know, and you can look at something and it could be a negative, but it also could be a positive. Back to the silver lining, you know. I mean, when I got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, okay, am I going to die? Am I going to have my breast removed? And they said, don't know. Yeah, it's both of them. And they went away and they came back, and I sat there and I said to the nurse, I said, actually, this has a silver lining.
And she was like, that was quick.
And she was like, this woman's a freak. You know? And I said, because I've got critical health cover. So I said, so, you know,
bring it on.
So she was like, oh, really? She didn't have an answer.
No.
She went, great. Like this, she was completely floored, as if this woman is having a breakdown, you know, she's just lost it. And I'm like, well, you know, and I literally reframed it, as you'd say in NLP, and went, what's the positives in this, you know? And I, you know, when I was diagnosed, I called my family, I mailed my close friends, because it is exhausting telling people that, oh, you know, I might be dying. And going through the whole story and the emotion, you're emotional, they're emotional, da-da-da. I mean, you know, my brothers and sister were just obviously, you know, beside themselves. Yeah. And so was I. And then I mailed everybody that was close, and then I put an announcement on Facebook and said, look, guys, you know, don't feel sorry for me, because I don't feel sorry for myself. This is going to be a journey of learning. Yeah. I don't know what I've got to learn, but clearly I do have something to learn. Yeah. And that was the way I looked at it. And I thought, okay, I'm here to learn something. This is because I'm not learning in another way. And it's like, you know, God, the energy, the force, the universe, whatever is saying to me, we need you to sit up and take notice of something. Okay. So you've got to. And for me, it was knowing that I was loved.
Yes.
That was it. And that was, and I came out, it was massive, absolutely massive. And if there's anything that can make me emotional, it's that. Yeah. When I did my Know and Be Known twice, I for different reasons, I got all like, vapors. Why is it that women do that to stop the tears coming out? Like, tip your head back.
So the mascara doesn't get done, do you?
Yeah, well, I don't really mascara, but yeah, you still do it anyway. Like, you know. But yeah, and knowing I was loved, and because at the end of the day, that's all we all want. Yeah. Is to be loved. And having gone through, you know, my life with different things, always wanting to be loved, not needy, I just wanted to be truly loved, you know. And when I was laid out, completely flat out, not able to do anything, at that moment I felt, not even just, you know, saw, I felt, I knew, it was demonstrated the love that I have and that people have for me. And that's the key thing that we all need. And so once you realise that, you're like, nothing else matters. You know, nothing physical, nothing, cars, houses, you know, none of that matters if you're loved.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not being facetious and saying, oh yeah, the poor people, they just need to be loved, you know. That's not it. But, you know, in the same respect, if I see someone, I will go and buy a sandwich for somebody. I've learnt my lesson though. I keep going and buying stuff and I get back and they're gone.
Oh no, I've done that. I've done that.
We both did. So the other day,
you go looking for someone.
Yeah, I was up in the city last week, and there was a guy, and I went up to him and said, "Would you like a sandwich?" And would you like a drink? I can't remember what I said to him. And he went, "Actually, I'd like an egg and bacon roll and a cup of tea."
Oh, lovely.
And he said, "You can get it from there."
Oh,
and I went in, and they went,
nice.
"Oh, yeah, he's a regular. We'll give him a sandwich instead of a roll. We know it's more expensive, but we always upgrade him."
Oh, that's
and a
nice.
big tea instead of a little tea, kind of thing, like, you know. So I went out with a massive great big tea and a roll. I said, "Apparently you're a regular." I said, "So they've upgraded you." He went, "Yeah, I always send people in there." But yeah, so I didn't make the mistake of then having a sandwich that I...
Well, I went one worse than that. When the kids were younger, we were in a pizza place in London, and they were at that stage of like, why are these people sleeping on the road? You know, what's going on?
Yes.
They weren't used to it. So looking out, as we were eating our dinner, there was a guy opposite on the other side of the road. And I said, look, we'll save some. We'll save some of our pizza and we'll put it in a box and we'll take it over there. So chat, drink, finish, you know, pay, go out.
Oops.
Okay, I've got half a pizza here. We're going to that theatre there. Can't take it in with us.
And he's gone.
And he's gone. And we're in Soho. So I'm like, okay, there must be another one round. So we were looking. And in the end we had to wake this guy up. Excuse me.
The other guy went, "Do you want me?" How funny.
But it was a good message for the kids. So,
yeah, but this is it. It's like, you know, I mean, I will give money to people that are selling the big issue because they're in a programme. And
it's the best magazine ever.
Yeah, it really is
brilliant
good.
content.
It's fantastic. But, you know, I am quite wary of trying to not give people money if they're going to use it for things other than, you know, whatever. So for me, it's like, what do you need? You know, I mean, one of my aborted attempts, I bought dog food for the guy's dog.
Oh.
I've got dog food that my dogs won't eat, sat in there, you know, and I'm like, and every time I go out, I think, oh, I better take that with me, and I always forget. But like, yeah, ready for the next homeless person that's got a dog, you know, because I was like, because I'm a dog freak, you know, I was like, wanted to feed the dog as well as the human.
Oh. Well, it's interesting though, because going back to BeCollaboration, we had one of our collaborators got chatting to a homeless person on New Year's Eve, and then the conversation carried on, and he thought, maybe they can come to BeCollaboration. So he rang us up and said, "Do you mind if we bring him?" We were like, "No, of course not." So he found somebody that would donate some clothes, and he got him all smartened up. And this guy, to his credit, petrified though he was, stood outside for ages, being brave enough. Can I go in? Can't I go in? Eventually came in, was so nervous. He was literally like that, but he stayed. Joe Hall, his name was, and he loved it. He absolutely loved it. So everyone kind of embraced him in the way they would any collaborator, and literally embraced him as well. And I don't think he'd had any physical contact from that sort. But by the end of the meeting, a couple of the ladies had offered him a job.
No.
So he had a job, and as a result of getting a job, he got accommodation.
Have you finished video recording?
No.
Do you want to come and be part of it? We're in the middle of it.
No.
Okay.
Sorry.
We love you lots.
Now.
Yeah. You're in it anyway.
Sorry.
Okay, Lee just photobombed the video. That's fine.
Do you want to be in it? No.
You sure? You don't sound too certain. So, but going back to being grateful.
Joe, yeah.
No, Joe, I mean, that was great. So he had a great outcome from that, just because somebody stopped to have a chat with him.
And that's the thing, it's like we're all human beings. There, but for the grace of God, go I.
Absolutely.
You know, certain circumstances, it's just a circumstance thing. Yeah. It could be any one of us. And that's the thing, they're still human beings. It's not, you know, they're not lepers, they are...
But it's one of the core values, human being first.
Exactly.
But it doesn't matter what nationality you are,
Yeah.
what sexual orientation. That's battering, it's okay. It's still going. Is it still going? It's still going.
Yeah.
So whatever your, you know, disability, male, female, not sure, everything in between, human being first.
Yeah.
You know. And I read somewhere about the universe and sort of celestial energy that surrounds it, that, you know, if somebody is killed across the other side of the planet, it's like us kind of our finger. It's still us, it's still all part of who we are.
Yeah, this is it, we are one heartbeat. And that, you know, it's just, and I have no time for, you know, I won't do religion, politics, money on Facebook or anything like that. I won't get involved in all of that because it's just an energy sapper. You know, I don't mean to say I don't have opinions, but I keep them to myself and I'll share them with people that want to know on a one-to-one basis if it's constructive, but I just won't get into arguments about that stuff because it's just, you know, it's just not where I want to put my energy. You know, having said that, I will get involved with causes and helping people and doing stuff and you know, so yeah, it's just, but it's not, for me it's a purposeful thing, you know. I mean, I do a lot of voluntary stuff, as I said, and sometimes, you know, like one of the young people that I see, I spend a whole day with, and sometimes I think, oh, I wish I could have been with Lee today, and you know, before the day, and then I go and have such a lovely time, and she's so grateful, and she's, you know, it makes a difference to have somebody turn up unpaid to just be with her, you know, and be there consistently when she's got nobody else that's not turning up, that's not paid. You know, everyone else in her life is being paid to be there, and I'm not. You know, and that makes a massive difference. You know, I have to be doing something voluntary. I can't. I have to feel like I'm giving back because I've got so many blessings and so much that I'm so grateful for that I need to feel that balance. I need to feel balanced. You know, so kids are a big part of that for me. You know, I feel one of my life purposes is to love other people's kids. Not because they can't. Well, sometimes they can't. But you know, it's just. I'm the auntie from hell, nicknamed.
From the kids' point of view or the parents' point of view?
No, from the kids' point of view. Yeah, I'm the naughty auntie that they get out to no good with.
Oh, okay.
And or turn up outside their school with my niece Rebecca. I turned up outside her school with a birthday cake with my sister, and we sang. She went to grammar school, so they were all quite, you know. And we turned up and stood there and sung Happy Birthday at the top of our voices. And her head came up like E.T. and she's like, get in the car, you know, you're embarrassing me. We were like, yes, you know, that's what aunties are for.
Yeah,
you know, if your aunties can't embarrass you and give you memories.
It's in the contract, isn't it? Yeah,
exactly. And we chased the bus that my other niece was on and banged on the window and said, woo! And she's like, it's Auntie Kay. And so she jumped off the bus and came and got in the car. We went on like a Thelma and Louise type ride. It was, mad, completely mad.
Well, this is the thing, isn't it? When we're talking about depression and things, and being positive and being negative, the epidemic of our world that's only just started is loneliness, isn't it? There are so many people out there that are stuck behind the computers, or elderly people that don't see anyone from one day to the next, and yet they've got neighbours next door that walk past their front door every day and never knock and say, hi, how are you?
And that's, I mean, my mother-in-law, who is adorable, she lived quite away from us. Not away, but like, you know, probably 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah. And
we got her to move down here. And where she lived before, although she'd lived there for most of her life, or most of her married life, she didn't, you know, she talked to people out in the street and that was it. And she knew all the people in the street, but they all closed their doors and that was that, you know. She never did anything. She's moved down here and she has a better social life than I do. We make her ring us because we're like, we just don't know where she is. And we're like, you know, we get emergency phone calls from my brother-in-law going, where's Mum? You know? And so she rings in and says, I'm going here, I'm going there. And I guarantee every day we get, I'm going to so-and-so, I'm going out here, I'm going with this one, I'm going with that one, da-da-da. We've even, it's like, you know, you regress back to being parents and children. We have to have a list of all of her friends' numbers so that we can check, that, you know, if there's any problems, we can
got someone to call.
And give them our numbers and like, you know, all this kind of thing.
Lovely.
But she's just having a whale of a time. You know, I mean, she's coming up to 80, 78, I think she's 70 something. But, you know, she's having the best time through going out, doing stuff. And, you know, when she first moved down here, I'd go with her to stuff. I was like, right, come on, let's go here, let's go there. I had no interest in it, but it was to try and get her to participate and join things because she was a bit nervous of going on her own. So, and then by chance, she met somebody on the bus
Yeah.
who then introduced her to a whole circle of people and activities and things. So, you know, but she was open to it, you know. And now she just has the best time. And the other thing is, she doesn't have time to worry. You know, before she used to worry terribly, and now she just has not got the time because she's worried about getting up in the morning and what I'm doing tomorrow and have I got all my stuff ready, and you know, so she hasn't got the just the sitting there dwelling on you know, doom and gloom type things.
And you can see people that get sucked into that. So, oh no, I don't want to go. Oh no, I can't be bothered to do that. And it just makes.
Well, I'm seeing a couple
very
next week that was recommended to me. The wife is 85 and she's developed agoraphobia, and ironically her husband's got claustrophobia. And you're like, how does that work? One doesn't want to go out and one doesn't want to stay in. And so I'm like, you know, so so I'm actually going to treat both of them. And at 85, you know, they're still wanting to have good mental health and get rid of this debilitating problem, because these things, they don't go away, they get worse. And she's finding it's actually closing her world in, and she doesn't want to. And God forbid anything happened to her husband, she wouldn't be able to go out, because the only reason she can go out is if he goes with her, which she never used to be like that. It was only an event that happened 3 years ago, and all of a sudden she's become sort of frightened of going out. So, you know, but that's the thing, it's never too late. And that whole thing about you can't teach old dogs new tricks is rubbish. We are reprogramming our brain and building new synaptic connections and pruning the old ones constantly. In your sleep, your brain goes through and does like a clean sweep of everything you've not used for a while. It will just get rid of them. And that's one of the big things that happens in your lowest level of sleep, is that your brain regenerates all of those stuff, clears out, ready for you to be building new connections each day. Because we make, you know, hundreds of thousands of new synaptic connections all the time.
So we can't overload the hard drive then?
No, totally not. Because it's like, I always say to people, your brain is not like your hard drive, it's actually like the ROM. Your processing memory, and then once something is significant and needs to be kept, it then puts it into your long-term memory. But your short-term memory is like the RAM of your PC, and then your hard drive or ROM is where you stick all the stuff that you want or perhaps don't want to keep. But you can retrieve it and reprogram it and get rid of the pain out of that if you wish to, you know, or if you need to as well. Some of us need to. I needed to massively, you know. But my problem is kind of, I want to heal the world. I'm like, I can help that person.
Is that a problem? Is that a problem? I think that's a lovely thing to.
First world problem, isn't it? It's like, but I sit there quite frustrated, and like with the Grenfell Tower, you know, I just want to help everyone. And there is only me, and I mean, there's lots of other practitioners that do what I do. I'm not unique by any stretch of the imagination, but I feel that I want to, you know, everyone I meet, I'm like, I could help that person, I could help that person, you know. And, you know, it's...
So how do you feel that BeCollaboration can play a part in helping you in that?
Well, I mean, after my Know and Be Known, I got a lot of people saying, please help me. So that's already, it's kind of kicked off that chain reaction. So people knowing what it's done for me, and also as a result of the masterclass, seeing it in action. You know, the stuff I do is kind of a bit, and I am a skeptic, you know, but the thing is, for me, I didn't have to believe in it because it was done to me and fixed me, you know, so I don't have to go through that skepticism. But for most other things, I am very skeptical, and you should be. You should have a healthy skepticism. It shouldn't stunt your ability to grow, but you should always question and go, well, you know, where's the evidence? Show me, you know. But from my perspective, I think, you know, BeCollaboration is the kind of, is so in line with what I do and I feel and stuff like that. So it's, you know, it's about just getting the word out there about, it's actually called thoughtful therapy, TFT for short. A lot of people know EFT, which is kind of an offshoot of it, and isn't as fast and as sort of targeted, in my opinion. But, you know, lots of people know about tapping, but just don't have an idea of how powerful it is and how life-changing it can be. And so, yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not shy. as you know. So I tell people, but it's obviously, I would never pressurise somebody to do it, because it's got to be in their own time and their own way. And, you know, sometimes I'll speak to somebody for months and months and months, and then they'll go, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I had one guy that came and said, I want to deal with this thing, I have this other thing, I'm not ready to deal with that. And I'll come back when I'm ready to deal with that. I normally never see people twice, because, you know, I teach them what to do. And he then came back and said, I'm ready now. And then we dealt with that thing, you know. So, yeah, it's kind of, that's the way it works. Is you have to be mentally be in the right frame of mind to want to journey into the unknown and to get rid of it. Sometimes we hold things because it's certainty, we know where we are, and it's a comfortable place. But you know, you have to do it when you're ready.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can see through BeCollaboration and the different people that are there utilising what you do and supporting you in order to see as many people as possible, and whether you use harness technology to put together workshops or training courses, or not so much training courses but kind of enlightenment, so people can understand that there is another.
And I do therapies over Skype. So, you know, I mean, I've done South Africa, Tenerife, Norway, Australia, you know, and all up and down the country. So, you know, it doesn't have to be abroad, it can be somebody that's, you know, I mean, ideally I prefer face-to-face, because I'm a face-to-face type of person, but it doesn't mean to say that they have to be. You know, I even did my mother-in-law FaceTime. She had fear of going to the dentist, and because of it, she hadn't been to the dentist for ages, and then was in so much pain she had to go. And she had like half an hour before she was going, and I was going out as well, so I FaceTimed her, and she was like, and then she came back, she went, they said I was the most non-nervous person that they've seen in their surgery, and I was like, and she said, oh, that's because of you, isn't it? And I went, there
you go, penny
if you think so. She went, maybe you should sort me out for not liking dogs. And I've done that as well with her. I just need to work on cats with her now, because she's still scared of cats. Yeah, exactly. But then, again, it's when she's ready. And we don't have cats in our kind of world. You know, there's nobody that has cats that she has to be exposed to.
So you can leave
so it's not like a big issue. But her not coming around here because of the dogs was an issue, you know. But yeah, my two dogs are quite hoofing large.
They're gorgeous.
They
absolutely gorgeous.
They're idiots, but they are lovely. But yeah, and so anyone that comes here has to kind of endure the dogs at some point. You know.
Maybe that was why Erkan didn't come.
Even then I could have sorted him.
Oh, exactly.
He missed an opportunity. You know.
So I want to thank you for being on this podcast. This has been fascinating. And I'd just like to share with anybody out there, if you're a collaborator already, you can go and meet Kay over at the Essex Group. They meet on the first Thursday of the month. She quite often potters down to London or comes across to Hertford as well. Just give me a shout if you want to find out if Kay's coming along, or obviously get in touch with her yourself. All her details are on the website at BeCollaboration.com to get directly in touch with her. And, you know, just from seeing in practice what she's done, it's phenomenal. But also as a person, even if you didn't do that, you're a phenomenal woman to talk to and understand, and just to hear your laugh, it cheers the whole room up. It's just, you've got a filthy laugh. I
have. Beju Solanki, who's a collaborator as well, there was a thing on Facebook, a viral thing where a woman had a Wookiee mask on, and that went absolutely viral. And he said, you should do something like that. He said your laugh would go viral, and I'm like, but you can't just like engineer something like that, you know. But I could sell my laugh, I suppose, for things. But I mean, whenever everybody knows, when I went back to work after cancer, my boss, or the boss's boss kind of thing, he said, I knew you were back. He said, I could hear you. He said, from over the other side of the building, you know. So yeah,
so we need to record that laugh and put that on the website. So anyone needs a bit of a cheer up, there you go. Just listen.
I hate the sound of my own voice. I hate watching this back.
Right, thank you so much for allowing me to come to your beautiful house on a lovely sunny English springtime, not springtime, summer. July.
Oh, heavens.
Have a lovely weekend.
Thank you.
And I'll see you at the next meeting.
Thank you, Jill.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Bye. Here we go.